SEN, we've got the call. Sports Day at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock we call back after this. The Seagulls looking for their 7th straight win over the West Tigers. Luke Brooks has been the story. Returns to Leichhardt. He can stamp his ticket to September football's coming up. September football, that is, finals football. And it is Luke Brooks versus probably the the first player since him so heavily spruiked, Lachlan Galvin.
Yeah, what a matchup this looks to be for these two, not young playmakers. Luke Brooks is a bit of a veteran now, but this is a changing of the guard at Leichhardt. Yeah. And another part of this game that was highlighted to me a little bit early on today was we're going to have 2 sets of 3 brothers. So the Travojevic brothers against the Fainu brothers tonight as well. You've got Samuela, Latu, and Latu's been caught up from New South Wales Cup.
2 sets of 3 brothers.
Yeah. Did I say that the right way, or did I feel like I jumbled that?
No.
Anyway.
Wow.
Sione.
Yeah.
And then they've also got Jakey, Tom, and Ben Turbo.
Wow. When was the last time we saw the Mortimer boys?
There's no way that's happened before ever, right?
Not against each other.
3-on-3.
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so.
I don't think so. And we've seen a lot of brotherly rivalries too in recent times. Of course, Tungor versus Tungor. Last week, Brayley versus Brayley. This week, you've got, who's the brother cop? Gagai versus Gagai.
Gagai versus Gagai.
So it's a real family affair at the moment. Tip?
Manly by a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they really blow them out here. It's an important game, and there's so much to play for. Normally, if Manly, just say if this was a game to go and Manly's sitting in that 6 or 7, I could see a world in which they get really complacent, but that top 4 is up for grabs.
Can you see a world in which a team like Manly win the comp? Like, is it a gettable year or not?
I thought absolutely no before the Nathan Cleary injury. And I think a few teams, Manly are a part of that little bracket. And in that bracket, I put the Cowboys and obviously the Dogs would have backed themselves. I think all of those teams are now looking, going, it was going to be hard to win the competition. It's not going to be easy, but it's not as hard as it was. If someone can manage to do a job on Penrith nice and early and make them play, not even necessarily knock them out, but make them play 4 finals games, which they haven't done in a long time.
No, that's right. Warriors taking the Bulldogs. Another game you'll hear live on the SEN network, Shaun Johnson Stadium. So well done to Go Media and the Warriors for that, 6 p.m. And I was talking about it, and Fletch said you had the similar idea, and you're saying that Jimmy had the similar idea. So great minds think alike. Where could this be the last ever game for Shaun Johnson? If they were to win the game at Shaun Johnson Stadium, next week they take on the Sharks. Following week they have the bye. Could he just say, "Ta-da, Tatiana Western Webb, the mic's been dropped, I'm done"?
Yeah, I think I look. Someone brought it up earlier in the week, and I couldn't remember who I got it off. I didn't want to claim it and claim it as my own sugar, but it was
Who's this guy?
Oh, there we go. It's
was
the
that
tourist.
You, tourist?
Yeah,
it was the tourist. It was on Monday. But didn't you say you got it from Jimmy?
No.
No,
we had it on the same day. I don't know who had it first.
Okay. Anyway,
but I know he had it as well.
So let me ask you
saying
this.
is it wasn't me.
Have you heard it outside the SEN network? That's what I want to say. You're saying it. I'm saying it. Jimmy's saying it.
I didn't hear it from anyone.
Okay, that's
fine. I just thought of it independently.
Great minds.
As did he.
Yep. Okay. Anyway, I could see that potentially happening. I can see that. Especially when they go to all this lengths and rename it Shaun Johnson Stadium.
Yeah.
It just seems fitting now, doesn't it, right? And the Wars aren't going to be playing finals this year, so they will get an early look at a potential combination in real game time for that 2025 season, because the Warriors aren't playing in the last week. They've got the ball.
Correct.
So it'll give an opportunity to look, maybe have another, because they've already seen what they can work with Chanel and Tomato Martin. They haven't had a look, I don't think, in a larger case, Metcalf and either of the two.
Trappy game for a couple of reasons here. I love what the Bulldogs are doing. Game 100 for Burton. They are looking for their 5th straight win. The reason I think this is a trappy game is twofold. Shaun Johnson Stadium, another sellout there at Go Media, just the theatre it's going to be. But the second thing is, it is not easy in the National Rugby League to be on the road twice. They've been to Bundaberg, not a place that you often go to. Now they come back. Now they go to New Zealand. It's just a trappy game. Are they going to be undefeated all the way through the rest of the comp? Maybe. Or maybe this is a game that could be droppable. They'll be right in this hunt, the Warriors. Broncos and the Eels, Suncorp Stadium. They've had a tough month, the Eels. They've had to play the top 3 teams. Roosters, Panthers and Storm, and they've also had to go to New Zealand. Yes, they got the win there, but Broncos with a little faint pulse here. I just think the Broncos could win this comfortably, but what do you think, Scope?
Yeah, I'll take the Eels with the start in this game. It's one of those games where I'm not completely sold on either. So generally on that, I normally take the points on the team. Like if I consider more of a coin flip, then I'll take I think it was 8.5 that was available for the Eels at the start of the day. We've got here in the notes, both teams have been in the news regarding Mitch Moses.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure. Pardon? Okay.
Oh, the rumour.
Okay. Mitch Moses, Broncos.
Wow.
I hadn't heard that before. I'd seen that in the notes. So, no, it's a rumour. Is it? Is it, Brooksy?
It's a rumour. This is not a rumour. Raiders forward Corey Horsburgh has met with Kevin Walters and toured the facilities. Former Origin prop, a Redcliffe Dolphins junior. So where'd that story come from? We better give that a credit as well. The Raiders forward Corey Horsburgh.
Okay, so he's Rennie matured. The facilities. He'd be He'd be a great pickup, Horsburgh.
I agree with that.
For any of the teams he's been linked to.
Yep.
He was an Origin player last year.
And a Queenslander.
Yeah, so that'd be a great fit.
I think so too. Eels have announced the signing of Panther fullback Isaiah Iongi. So that talented youngster who's been parked behind Dylan Edwards. So there's some news for you. Speaking about the Panthers, GIO Stadium, Raiders taking on the Panthers. And the Panthers' first game without Nathan Cleary. Fun fact around the 91 grand final, Scope. That was, how old would you have been then?
91, 5 years old.
5 years old. Okay. So what happens in that year, Matthew Wood, try-scoring specialist, his parents leave Goulburn. This tale goes that because his whole family's gone up to watch the grand final, thieves have broken into the parents of Matthew Wood in Goulburn. They've sat there the whole day drinking beers, watching the grand final. At the end of the day, taken the TV and off they went. And the other story, it was a real sort of stolen kind of night. The Panthers win their first ever premiership. And everyone in the suburb of Penrith and surroundings are absolutely poleaxed. And no one's given a rat's about anything. So some very clever thieves turn up. And I think they hijacked the Leagues Club. You can imagine how much money was being pumped into it to the tune of about $1 million.
What?
Yeah, had you heard that?
No.
Yeah.
No, I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah.
You could get away with a few more things back in those days, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Before,
the Leagues Club on the night they win their first premiership, all the takings they got, that's how the story goes. If somebody knows the minutiae detail, feel free to fill us in. The Panthers without Cleary, as you mentioned. Former Raider, another former player. Brad Schneider comes into the halves with Jerome Luai moving to halfback, and geez, his game's gone to another level, Jerome Luai.
Yeah, this is all the Tigers fans will be watching tonight for sure. I think 80% of them will be tuning over on Super Saturday and watching this at 3 p.m. too, because the incoming Jerome Luai to the West Tigers. I guess the Tigers fan base are hoping he has the same effect which Stephen Crichton has had for the Bulldogs this year. I find this tricky. I think the Raiders can be it's the first team to take them on post Nathan.
Yep.
Have a real crack at them.
Okay.
And there are a few players that are a little bit underdone in this Panthers team too.
It is
James
tricky.
Fisher-Harris that's struggling back from injury and whatnot.
Yeah, 100%. Storm take on the Dolphins. If Stephen Crichton's a buy of the year, well, the most improved player of the year might be Tyron Wishart. He's named on the wing. So versatile, and he's now pretty much, I think, assured himself if they are to make the grand final, he should be in the 17 somewhere, Tyron Wishart, which is quite the story. Nelson Asafa Solomona, we spoke about him before, 200th NRL appearance, and Jesse Bromwich returns to Amy Park for one last time, Scope.
I liked your shout. I was listening the other day. Fletchy shot you down. The most improved.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like it.
It is, isn't it?
There's a most improved because I'm a big NBA guy, big NFL.
Yeah.
They've got it in the NBA, definitely. I don't think they've got it in the NFL, but I like the idea of it.
Yeah.
Comeback player of the year, I guess, is the NFL version. You're right, tourist. So, Tyron Wishart. It depends. I guess you wouldn't want to have most improved if you've excelled, like
or
got to a certain
season
point,
or something.
A breakout season, right? You don't want to be a guy that dropped off and then
No.
ended up coming back like they do with the comeback, which is normally generally
Maybe
around,
like an Angus Crichton, right?
Maybe, yep, yeah, that's a good example.
Comeback player of the year.
Comeback player of the year, but normally it's for a season-ending injury in the NFL. That's normally the players that are associated with it. But yeah, I like your shout. He's definitely.
Was it Nicole Hardman? Was he the guy who had the the very bad injury. The wasn't a heart attack, was it?
No, Damar Hamlin.
Oh, Damar Hamlin. Damar Hamlin, sorry. McCole Hardman got the touchdown winner in last year's Super Bowl.
He come back from the Jets and played 3 or 4 games at the Chiefs and got himself a Super Bowl.
That's exactly right. Rabbitohs take on the Knights. Brothers Gagai combine, as we say. They take on each other. Once again, the Knights are juggling halves, Cogger and Gamble. Gamble, we sure it's Gamble? I think he might be injured. Gamble.
No, Gamble's out. Cogger's taken Gamble's spot in the halves. Yep.
That's right.
He broke his hand.
That's exactly right. Cody Walker's out. Dean Hawkins comes back in. And Richie Kenner wins the case at the judiciary. He's free to play. I think the Knights win this.
I think so, mate. Yeah, no Cody Walker. We seen a couple of weeks ago they played against the Sharks.
Yep.
And they really struggled for any points in that game without Cody.
Titans take on the Roosters. Should be a slick surface. 2 o'clock. Seabus Super Stadium. I think the big story. There's a few big stories here. Of course, you got Fafita taking on Angus Crichton, both wearing jumper number 11. The Roosters wanted them. I think Angus will make a massive game to prove a point that he was the right man they kept. And you've got Beau Fermor coming back, Mo Fotuaika coming back. They're big ins. Jarawira Hargreaves, he's back from a 4-game suspension. Nat Butcher comes back. Aaron Clark's been told he can leave at the end of the year. He's going to the Warriors. But this is the matchup. They're marking each other. The race for the top try scorer. Alifiana Khan Pereira, 20 tries, marking up against Dom Young, 18 tries scope.
I'll be watching this game very closely, Sugar. Remember about a month ago I told you about our little punters club bet that we put on with Khan Pereira?
Yeah.
He looked all but home a couple of weeks ago. Now he's starting to get a little bit wobbly. Dom Young scores 3, the best last week, and we've got ourselves a game. So our punters group have had a pretty decent investment into this, responsibly, of course.
Yeah.
What are you really gambling with? But I'll be watching this game very closely, mate. They're marking it against each other too, so that's going to be fun to watch.
Fantastic stuff. Dragons take on the Sharks, the local derby. I don't know why they play this at Wynn Stadium. Please, can we just make sure in future the Dragons and Sharks, whenever they play, it must be at Shark Park or at Cogra. No offence to Wynn Stadium, but it's a local derby. That's what I want us to do there. But anyway, I think a lot of people down in the Gong will disagree with that. Sharks looking to stay in the top 4. Dragons looking to stay in the top 8. The Sharks have won the past 8 between the pair. And, of course, you've got the former Sharky Jack Bird partnering Ben Hunt in the halves. But the big story, of course, Shane Flanagan. He's taking on the old firm who could do, as we say, take a giant leap into the top 8 whilst at the same time take a giant whack into the Sharks.
You talk about the grounds. If you're a Dragons player, fan, coach, which ground would you prefer to play at if it was just not like in this case, with it being the Cronulla Sharks? As a new, like, if they're playing anyone, do you think they go better down at Wollongong and they prefer playing at Wollongong?
So is your question then, if they won a home final, would they choose Cogra or would they choose Wynn Stadium?
Yep.
I think they'd choose Wynn Stadium.
Yep.
For a couple of reasons. Just their recent record, but also it's just extra travel for everyone else.
Yep, good point. Good point. And what about West Tigers?
West Tigers.
Campbelltown or Leichhardt? It would be Leichhardt.
It'd have to be Leichhardt.
Yeah.
I know it sounds biased, but they've only won one of their last 10 or something at Campbelltown.
Well, they just got another one on the weekend.
2.
Yep.
Yeah, so Leichhardt just does something special for them. They're playing tonight. Can they do something special there? So there's your round 25 preview with the scope myself. Do you agree? Jump on the text line 0457 736 736. Spanky says, the audacity, get the coal miner to work. Wishy is not listed for the Clive. Fair call, Spanky. Fair call. 1300 01 1170. If he's going to play on the wing, please bring back the black French cap boots that his old man used to wear. That would be a sight to behold. A Wishart on the wing.
Let him have a kick too, I reckon.
Yes.
Let Nick Meaney just hand over. If they've got a decent lead and they're travelling against the Dolphins, give him a kick from the sideline.
He had a unique sort of run up as well.
When I think of Rod Wishart, I think of those Origin games. I think about him just knocking him over from the sideline. Sugar.
You know Rod Wishart, who's heavily underrated. He's amongst the top 3 or 4 most capped Blues Origin players of all time.
He would have been right up there with one of my favourite Blues when I was a kid watching the games. Dad used to go for Queensland. I was the Blues, and Rod Wishart from the sideline.
What a champion. 1300 01 1170. Matty John still to come up, not too far away. Hayden McLean of the Swans to run home with Joel and Fletch.